Thank you, Suzanne. Yeah, thank you, everyone. I'm going to try to keep it short. I really enjoyed Karen and Gary's presentation. I am not so good with PowerPoint, so you just have to stick with me and what I have to share. So my journey started, it's nearly 29 years. My son was born in January 1996, and my life was forever changed, like all of us when children are born, but especially when you have children with special needs. So Ruan, my oldest son of 4, has really made me dig deep and to stay encouraged and brave in the face of adversity, because in our country, unfortunately, we have no government support whatsoever to do anything, no funding, especially with Prader-Willi. There is support, government support, but only for big houses where you've got huge numbers. They are willing to support them. So when my son turned 16, I discussed this with my 2 brothers, and I said to him, I don't know what's going to happen with Ruan when he turns 18, because there's safety nets for children in South Africa when they're still school-going age. But the moment they are adults, the support is very rare. So we as a family decided to start a NPO, which is a non-profit organization, and we start to raise private fundraising to open a house for adults with Prader-Willi. So when my son turned 18, we were only about 3 years in, and there wasn't enough money to open a house. So I started to look around what is available in South Africa and near me. And like Karen said, when I speak to the facilitators and the caretakers and I explain to them what Prader-Willi is, they would nonchalant, yeah, we've been doing this for years and there's nothing you can teach us. And I said, well, this might be different. And then, no, your son is very welcome. And after a week, they'll give me a call. I said, no, we won't be able to do this, And they start giving me the pointers. He's got this complex relationship with food and he doesn't listen and his anxiety level is high. And I said, yes, that's what I've tried to explain to you, but you have to experience them to know what you don't know. So after 4 residents home that I did try out, I decided, okay, this is not going to work. And mainly because there's too many residents. It's anything from 20 up. There's not enough caretakers, and they are not willing to be teachable. So, and Prader-Willi is so rare everywhere, but in our country, I know about 80 families. There might be more, but that, we as a Prader-Willi organization in South Africa know only about 80 families that do have children with Prader-Willi syndrome. So in 2019, I just bite the bullet and I said to my brothers, let's just open it up, because people are not willing to buy into your dream if they can't see the dream. We've got this dream of this house, but it's just a dream. So we started off with my son and another adult girl. She was 23. Then my son was also 23. We started Huis Henri with 3 staff members and 2 residents. Now, keep in mind that we have no government funding whatsoever. And Karen, exactly what you said about this rotating staff, that's where the complications gets in, because our children and the staff, they don't get the time to build a trusting relationship. And I found if Prader-Willi don't trust you, they're not going to follow you. They're not going to listen. They have to feel safe and understood at all times. Otherwise, the anxiety levels just gets higher and higher, and that's where the problems start. Managing the tantrums, and to get them off that high energy back to a manageable energy, it's not easy. And if you don't have the relationship and the understanding, it's difficult to do, because they can get very personal with their verbal abuse towards their caretakers. And the caretakers take that personally. They don't see that as part of the syndrome. So I was cautious about that rotating thing, and I were at this vision to start with women and stay, just stay with that staff as my permanent staff, but it wasn't possible. We got that right with one lady. She's been there from the beginning, and 6 years in, she's still with me, and she's like my anchor in the house. She does all the training when we do get new staff members. But the last 3 years, we had permanent staff, and I could see the change that brought into my house, stability-wise, and with the children and with the parents as well, because they were also able to form relationship with the staff members. So now 6 years in, we had 5 residents, 3 staff members, and one of them lives in. They rotate to sleep in at night. They get in the morning from 8 till 5. But I was asked today to speak more about the transition for the children to a facility and also for the parents. And I can underline everything that Karen said now. You know, when parents contact me, they just tired. It's been years that they have been the prime caretakers, and it takes a lot out of you. Then they also feel guilty because, you know, what does it say about me now giving that responsibility over? And they also feel, will we be able, you know, to rise to the challenge? Will we be able, because even though all of them got Prader-Willi syndrome, because it's a home exclusively for Prader-Willi, they're still very individual with their likes and their dislikes and their personalities. And some things will rock the boat for some and it won't for others. So there's still that real need to be understood and to be valued as an individual and not just as an adult with PWS. So that has been my challenge, to train my staff in the syndrome, but also to let them know that there's a real person behind that syndrome with real needs and real dreams. Yeah, but I'm very proud of my staff members. I've got the highest gratitude towards them for staying loving and very patient while facing the adversary of having to, have bring new adults in. They have to build relationship. We still have to get to know them. We've got to know the parents and what their worries are. I would say that there's no real way that you can support an adult to go to a home, a facility, except letting them know that you as a parent will always be there for their support, because it is a transition to get into a house with strict routine, which is their safety, and that keeps their anxiety levels down, with no access to food in any way, because food is locked down 24/7, and food is not even used as a level or something to reprimand a resident or even to praise a resident. Food is something that plays out in the background, and there's designated times for meals. And I've said to my staff, even if the geyser gives up and you're standing knee-high in water preparing a meal, the meal will be served at the designated time, and then we will manage the geyser. So don't, because the strict daily routine is what keeps the residents happy, what keeps them safe. They know how the day is going to play out. And I would say that the plus point of having Prader-Willis in one home is that they are not so isolated. They get to spend time with people 24/7. I found that when the adults are at home, their parents will go to work and they will have one caretaker, but there will not be real relationship with like-minded adults, and they live as siblings in this home, and they have true relationship and true friendships that bloom out of this. So that we'll see is the plus point, and that we are more people that can take care of that. The parents, it's only the couple. Sometimes it's only the mother taking care. I've had lots of single mothers taking care of Prader-Willi syndrome, because marriages are under strain when you have a disabled child in your home. So if that parent can trust us, we find that they can find that sense of relief, find that sense of freedom, and knowing that their child is blooming in this new facility. Losing weight was one of our biggest challenges. Usually when we do receive the residents, they are very much overweight. My son as well, so there's no judgment whatsoever. He was the oldest of 4 children. It was difficult to manage food in the house with 4 growing children and only one having this challenging relationship with food. So he was totally overweight when I started the home. He weighed 130 kilos, and he lost that weight and has been at his ideal weight, that is 58, for the last 4 years. One of our residents weighed 160 and is now at 80 kilos 2 years down the line. So for our children, I have found when they do lose the weight and they do get their energy levels back and their sleep patterns back, they're also better at managing their own attitude towards life, towards the home, because they feel physically better. They're not so tired all the time. So we are all for a strict routine, a good balanced diet, exercise daily. They go swimming twice a week, indoor heated pools so they can swim right through the year. They've got hiking every day with our caretakers. I think our biggest challenge was to find a work for them, because you cannot let them work without shadowing them. There must be a caretaker that understands the challenges that they might have in a day, whether it's emotional or with food. So that will be it's been our challenging part. I've tried to find shadow work for them everywhere in town, which is a very small town. I wasn't successful. So 2 years ago, I started a workshop in the house for them, making soap, a natural soap that anyone can use, of natural products. They love that because now they are contributing to, the community. We sell it at all the local guest houses, because Beaufort West is in the middle of our country. It's 9 hours drive from Johannesburg. It's about 6 hours from Cape Town. So everyone on the main route, everyone sleeps over in Beaufort West. So there's a lot of guest houses, and they do support, selling our soaps there. But in general, it's been a hell of a learning curve for me. I started off just as a mother with a big dream, and a son that also wanted to leave home, wanted to be more independent. The challenges hasn't stopped, because Beaufort West are very far away from everything. And I found that I must look for a town where there's at least an airport to make it more accessible for the parents to get to their kids on a regular basis. So that will be the next step, to maybe move the house to a bigger town where there is an airport, because we did all the groundwork now and we can just take it to a new town. So that is it from me. If there's any questions, thank you so much for the opportunity. I appreciate it.